Now we're going to take a look at setting the page availability. Now we mentioned the draft mode that the Notes for Instructors module was set to up here. So you can change that setting on your individual pages as well by clicking on the drop-down arrow next to a page and clicking on Edit Properties in place. So editing the properties here will bring up a couple of options. One of them will allow us to change the draft setting here. So some of your courses may have two schedules. Because we have terms that last different lengths of time, we need to have a couple of different schedules prepared. So you need to make sure that the correct schedule is set to be visible to students. So if I were teaching the 10-week version of this course, for example, I would want to change this 10-week schedule to be the one that's visible and set the 15-week schedule to be the one that's invisible to students. So to change the 10-week schedule to be visible, I'll simply click on this draft icon right here and change this to Published. Now this page is visible to students. So I'm going to want to change my 15-week schedule to be invisible. So I'll choose to edit this page's properties and change it from Published to Draft. Now my 10-week schedule is visible and my 15-week schedule is invisible. Now underneath these pages, after we've chosen to edit them, we can also click on Add Dates and Restrictions. Now this brings up a section called Release Conditions. This can be a really helpful tool to use if you don't want your students to be able to access specific areas of your course until they've completed previous sections. Now let's say, for example, that we didn't want our students to be able to access our Module 2 discussion until they've completed the Student Introductions discussion. Next to our discussion here, we'll click on Edit Properties, and we'll open up the Add Dates and Restrictions area. And under Release Conditions, we'll click Create. So the first menu we see is Condition Type. If you click on that, it gives you a bunch of different types of conditions you can create. Now many of these basically have to do with your students completing a specific type of assignment before they can view this piece of content. So for example, you can set the condition that students have to submit an item to a certain Dropbox, or complete a certain quiz before they can see this discussion. So in our example, we want our students to have completed the introduction discussion before they can view this second discussion here in this module. So our condition is going to be that we want our students to have authored a post in a topic. Now we have a new menu where we can select from the discussion that we want our students to have completed that post in. So we're going to choose Student Introductions, and we'll say one post here. So now we've created a condition where a student has to have completed one post in the Student Introductions discussion before they can view this topic. We'll click Create to save that. And now we'll click Update to make sure that our settings have been saved. Now we can see we have a new condition here where a student has to have created one thread in the discussion topic, Module 2, Student Introductions, before they see this Module 2 interactive exercise reflective discussion.